Hi, I'm Josh Ratner, and welcome to Health Alliance and You, a health and wellness series brought to you by Health Alliance of the Hudson Valley. If you've ever wondered what chemistry had to do with your daily life, the answer is a lot. Your body produces chemicals all the time, and it uses them to control vital body functions. These chemical messengers, called hormones, move through the bloodstream, transferring information from one set of cells to another. But things can sometimes go wrong, and you can get the wrong amount of hormones, which can be harmful. Here to discuss this is Dr. Christopher Palmeiro, a board-certified endocrinologist at HealthAlliance Hospital.
Endocrinology is a tricky field. It's actually the study of hormones, which are little molecules secreted by glands and released, and they act actually further out in the body at a distant site. So overall, that's what endocrinology means, the study of hormones. The tricky part about endocrinology is actually that we cover all glands. And there's numerous amounts of glands in the body, and a lot of those glands are actually duplicated, so there are two of them. So as an endocrinologist, you have to have expertise in glands that might be in the middle of your brain, called the pituitary gland. You have two adrenal glands. You have a thyroid gland in your neck. We also specialize in diabetes, as the pancreas, which is an organ located in the middle of your stomach or in the mid-abdomen, secretes quite a few hormones. A gland is a tissue that makes a substance that gets released into the bloodstream. That particular molecule is referred to as a hormone because it's secreted in one place and it acts at a place distant from where it's secreted. So it may be produced in the neck, for instance, in the thyroid, but it could act as far as your big toe or maybe even up in your brain. And that's the definition of a hormone. A gland is just the tissue that's responsible for making that hormone. So when glands malfunction, the way I describe glandular problems, it would be similar to a heating or cooling problem in your house. So if your, say, air conditioner stopped functioning, or your boiler stopped producing heat, and or vice versa, your boiler was producing too much heat, you can get a high or a low level of a hormone the same way you can get heating or cooling problems in your home or your apartment. So the typical gland issues we deal with in endocrinology almost always deal with either what we call hyperfunctioning, meaning producing too much, or producing too little, or hypofunctioning, too little hormone. When we determine a gland is making either too much or too little hormone, it really depends upon the gland itself. So a gland that's making too much hormone, say in the pituitary, which is in the center of your brain, if you were to connect your two fingers and draw a line from your temples, directly in the middle of your head would be your pituitary gland. As you can imagine, logistically, where that gland is, it makes it kind of difficult to treat. So a lot of times if it's actually making too much, surgery would be the treatment. If it's making too little, we have synthetic hormones, meaning hormones produced in the lab, based upon human DNA that can actually replace the hormone that gland is no longer producing adequately. In the case of, say, your thyroid gland, that can either be overactive or underactive. If it were overactive, we would treat it medically or maybe even with a radioactive pill or possibly even surgery. Versus if it were underactive, we have several different hormone replacement options. The biggest challenge with the thyroid gland is probably that it gets blamed for too much. In my opinion, and in my practice, I actually think that metabolism is probably a bigger problem than thyroid. And what I mean by that is that people, as they gain more weight and as they get older, and or in a female after they go through menopause, their metabolic rate can drop fairly substantially. So if they historically were following a fairly sedentary lifestyle, and they go through menopause, and or they're just aging, and or they hurt their knee, and or they retire and they can't move around as much, or they don't move around as much, they start gaining weight. So what I see more often than not is that the thyroid is blamed for issues of weight gain and tiredness and fatigue. And more so what we're looking at is probably an issue with lifestyle and with metabolism and fairly poor planning. But back to the question on thyroid, I find it's more of a scapegoat than more than what it's really responsible for. But there are true thyroid problems, don't get me wrong. I mean, hypothyroidism or low thyroid is an exceedingly common problem. You're looking in the multi-millions of amounts of people that actually have a thyroid condition in the United States. And it's actually easily treatable as well. So diagnosing it is important. The hard part is teasing out, is it the thyroid that's causing the problem, or is it just poor lifestyle choices that are causing the problem? And that becomes quite challenging for physicians and also for patients to accept the fact that it might not be their thyroid that's causing their problem.
We hope you found this edition helpful. Remember, the endocrine system influences almost every cell, organ, and function in our bodies. If something is wrong, doctors can treat endocrine problems by controlling the production of hormones or replacing certain hormones with medication. For more health information or to view this episode again, visit hahv.org. I'm Josh Ratner. Join us next time for another edition of Health Alliance and You for details on how to stay healthy.